So some questions to start off with. How old are both of you?
I'm 20.
I'm 18.
Really? Oh, okay. Very nice. Okay. How long have you guys been together?
2 years just passed.
2 years just passed. How'd you guys meet?
Well,
You got
we met actually at my house when I was like 11, 10-ish.
Okay.
He was one of my brother's friends,
Ah,
and he
okay.
kind of just showed up. But we reconnected in high school and became friends, and then started dating.
Very nice, very nice. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to ask you like some, actual questions. They're going to be 15 questions. Okay. So what do you think are the key components of a healthy, loving relationship? Well, you can mention anything. It doesn't have to.
I know one thing that she always mentions is it's a matter of choosing to love somebody, because you don't always have to like someone. You won't a lot of times, but you gotta continue to like choose it. And so I think like persistence. You gotta be persistent in a relationship. You gotta choose to keep doing it. Like even if you gotta be able to separate when things are going rough and know that like that's just the situation, not who they are.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, and with that, like, just always talking, always make sure that you are not only catering to your needs but to theirs too, because when you're in a relationship, it's not all about you anymore. And everyone gets in arguments. When arguments do happen, I think it's important that we always try. Obviously, we're not always successful in this, but to do it us versus the problem and not us versus each other. Because if we're putting us against each other, that's just creating conflict.
Right.
And I'm disliking.
Now, this is going to be questions about like self-love. Okay, it's going to be about like your personal selves before and during the relationship, basically. Okay, so what insecurities did you have going into the relationship? / what insecurities do you have now? Like I said, it's very personal, so you guys can either.
Okay, so before us, I had a 3-year relationship, like junior high into high school. So my biggest insecurity was that, well, obviously it ended. So I was like, well, I obviously must not be very good at this if it ended. So my biggest insecurity was like, I'm gonna mess up on this one. But also, like, things that I didn't like about my past relationship, I figured were universal because it was the only one I'd ever been in. So it was a big thing for me to tell her like what I didn't like about the last relationship. And then right up front, she was like, oh, that's not how we do it. Like, that's not how you have to be. And I was like, oh, well, that's easy then.
Right.
Like, so I think that was a big thing that was addressed right away. It was like, I don't like having to always agree with each other, having to always do things that the other person wants to do. And she was like, no, you can just do what you want. And we'll just date. And I was like, oh, that's easier. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Let's go with flow.
So that was like a big one that I had to address, but she was cool with it.
Nice. Okay, and then I guess you can answer like what you had before.
One thing that I actually have never been in a relationship before this one, so I think the 3-year relationship also did kind of throw me off with that, because he had already done it, if that makes sense, and I hadn't, so I didn't know. I was nervous about there being a comparison game between us two, and like me not amounting up to what she, like if she did something well in the relationship, me not reaching that level or stuff like that. So that really was like nerve-wracking, just like the idea of not being enough and not being what he was looking for. It was always
Nice.
a little bit nerve-wracking.
Okay, so do you guys have any insecurities in your guys' relationship now about your own selves? Like you're either like super conscious about, or even together that you guys are super conscious about? Or...
Probably still just like trying to make sure you're doing it right. Like as if there's no one right way to do it, but like to make sure you're doing what you enjoy while making sure that's not outside the limits of like what you guys agreed on with each other. So, but making sure she's happy, making sure I'm happy with what makes her happy, like. So I guess trying to figure out that balance is always like an insecurity thing or something that's always on your mind. I don't know about you, but.
I think for me, something that I just get, I'm not always insecure about this, but I'll go into spurts where I really am, and that's just like making sure God is in the middle of a relationship, especially since, I mean, we both are Christians, and that's kind of how we developed a good friendship was through the church. So making sure that that's still a thing, if that makes sense, because once we lose God, we lose a relationship. And so just making sure that he's always in the middle of it, and he's always talking about him, and we're still putting all the glory to him, and all that is one of my biggest worries.
Well done. Okay. Do you guys love yourself more now in the relationship or before when you guys were single? Like in terms of like self-love, self-confidence, self-esteem, and stuff like that.
Yeah, we were up.
Okay. I definitely think there are things now that I love about myself that were harder for me to love when I wasn't in a relationship. And I think a big part of that is just like everyone has self-image issues and stuff like that, but Luke constantly reminds me that he thinks I'm beautiful, that he thinks I'm enough, and that he validates who I am as a person. And hearing that constantly hearing that reassurance definitely helps build your own self-confidence, I think. But I don't think I was super self-conscious beforehand either.
Nice.
But it's definitely, I'm pretty solid in who I am now, thanks to this film.
I feel like I never really had self issues like prior or during. I think probably the biggest one would be like feeling like I wasn't smart, because I always felt like I knew I was like good at certain things, like through sports or like being funny or like music, whatever that was. But like I never felt like I was good, like I was a smart person just because I never did well in school. But then, so like when I was single, it was just like I'll just be dumb, like it's fine. But then when I was with her, I would just tell her like, I'd be like, oh, I didn't do well because I'm dumb. But she does really well in school, and she's like, no, you're not dumb. That's just not how you're supposed to do school. Like you do school this way, and like help me to get better at that. So now my grades are way better. Wow. So you just gave me better grades.
Look at her.
Yeah, but it's like, I felt like I was just a dumb person, and then she was like, no, you're just not doing school the right way. Like you're just not applying your brain the right way.
Right.
So that definitely helped me overcome that insecurity, and it's definitely still an ongoing thing of like making sure that I'm still doing it right. But luckily, I keep my tutor around to keep it going.
Yeah, gotta keep the tutor around for a long time.
She is a tutor.
Right. Very nice. Okay. What did your partner find to love in you that you didn't recognize? Like, what confidence did you give him, and you were like, whoa, I didn't like really realize that like, you know, somebody would like that about me. I know.
That's a good question. I'm the shit. I don't know what you
Definitely, like, there's little quirky things I do that I'm not gonna go into. Just in life, like I do weird little tweaks and little things, and like I've never hated them or anything, but like I'll do them and he'll be like, oh my god, you're so cute, and like he loves it about me, and I was just like, okay, like I didn't know this was like a thing someone would really like. I thought it was just gonna be like something he'd deal with.
Right.
You're funny. That's the thing. No one ever tells you you're funny. I get it all the time that I'm funny. You're funny. That's the thing that people don't know. She just says jokes. She whispers jokes to me, and I'm like, you should say that to other people. You're funny.
Like you should say it out loud.
That's what I'm saying. So someone will go by and I'll make a comment, and then she'll whisper a comment. I'm like, that's funnier than what I said. So you just need to be vocal about it. That's one thing.
Very nice.
I'm perfect. That's right. Probably. Oh gosh, what's the question again?
What did your partner find to love in you that you didn't recognize? So something that like you didn't realize that was like, oh yeah, that's so great, but she was like, oh yeah, I really like that about you.
She was the first person to tell me. Oh, thank you. She was the first person to tell me that I was good with kids, and I worked in children's ministry for like 6 years, and I guess I always felt like I was just doing it, like just showing up, punching a bunch of numbers, having a good time. But she was like the first person to come over and be like, you're really good with kids. Like, you know what you're doing, you interact with them well, you engage with them well. And I was like, oh, I kind of figured I was doing my thing. And she's like, no, like it works the way you do it. So that was definitely like, that made me realize that I enjoyed it so much and that I was doing well at it. So that was a good thing that she brought to my attention.
Very nice. Okay. Now these are more sentimentality questions. Just the next set of 3 questions. What is special about your relationship that was hard to find in another relationship, or that you think would be hard to find? That you think would have been hard to find in another relationship, I guess, like, or something that you were hoping for that you have now and that you didn't think you would.
I feel like a lot. Can you say the question again? What's something special in ours that is hard to find elsewhere?
Yeah. So you actually have a relationship to compare it to. I have to just
I
go
feel
out
like
the woods.
you put up, you probably encourage it if anything, with how weird I am, how weird I can be, like behind closed doors when people aren't, like, I can be so weird and do like characters and impressions and weird things, and she's like, you're weird, like you don't do that in front of other people. I was like, I know I have to get it out somehow.
Right.
So definitely the fact that she's seen that and stays with me is very encouraging. You know, she's not like, I'm out, that's too much for me.
I feel like in your past relationship, did you do it and it was kind of
No, I never did it.
Oh,
Because I was like,
so you're like opening up.
that's what I'm saying. I think I probably did it one time. She was like, "What are you?" And I was like, "I know you're right. That's weird. You're right. I shouldn't have done that. I'll just keep that to myself."
For sure.
That's
That's
okay.
nice, very nice.
I had something, but I forgot it because
You're weird too.
I'm weird.
Right. She.
I think a big thing that like I've always one reason I wasn't in a relationship before is because I was just like I was very observant of other people's relationships and how people interacted with each other, and so I was just, it wasn't that I didn't want to date or anything like that. I was just finding someone who I felt I was fully compatible with, and not wanting to jump into something because I'd seen so many of my friends do it before and get hurt. And one thing that I feel like is in a lot of relationships that make them crumble is putting each other in these boxes, being like, oh, he can't hang out with girls without me. Oh, he can't do this. Like putting rules on the relationship, if that makes sense. It's like, it's not, like, I'm not his mom.
Right.
He doesn't,
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's also what I had said earlier. Like before going into it, I had this idea that like, oh, these are how rules of a relationship are. She was like, no, you just kind of be you, and then I'll also be your girlfriend. I was like, oh, okay.
So it's like, oh, it works like
You're like,
that.
I'll just do everything I'm doing right now, but you're just my girlfriend on top of it? Okay, cool, that's cool.
Very nice.
And like with that, like people always think, like, yeah, I still can get jealous and stuff, but we communicate about that. And like, he doesn't, he's not hanging out alone in a room with a girl without telling me. Like, he'll be like, hey, by the way, I'm alone in this room with this girl. And it's like, not that he has
And here's why. Like,
yeah, and
we're doing
exactly.
this.
And it's not like he has to do that, but it's like, it's a respect thing. We still respect each other enough to communicate what we're doing, especially when we're hanging out with like opposite genders, and if we're alone, especially.
Right.
But it's not like he can't do it, and it's not like he, in reality, has to communicate that to me or has to ask me. Like I never have to ask him to do something, and he never has to ask me to do something. We just kind of communicate, feel out. Like if I tell him I'm gonna do something, and he gets really upset, I might not do it, and that's not because I can't. That's because what's more important to me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because we were long distance for a year.
Right.
So that was 1 year of like, obviously we're not together. You got this. Of like, we're not together, so it was like, well, it'd be really easy for me not to tell her that I'm hanging out with 2 girls right now in the library.
Right.
But like, I care enough about her that I'm gonna tell her, and she may or may not care, but like, I'm still gonna break that, and the vice versa. When you're away from each other, it's feeling a lot more important, so it becomes more prevalent.
And I think that it leaves no room for misunderstandings. Like say if someone saw him go into a room alone with a girl and then they told me, I didn't
Which
know.
happened, I think.
Which has happened.
Someone brought it up to her, like, oh, he's doing this. And she's like, yeah, I know.
But, like,
her name is XYZ, and they're doing this together. Like, I already know.
Yeah, exactly. And if it just leaves no room for that.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know. It's like he's my best friend before he's my boyfriend always, and it's like we respect each other. We communicate, and just like a lot of that, not putting restrictions or rules on each other or the relationship.
Very nice.
That was such a long answer.
Yeah.
No, you guys take as long as you want. As long as you guys have the time. Okay, as your relationship has progressed, do you believe that acts of service that have sentimental value have become more valuable than monetary gifts. So like him doing stuff
Easy.
for you.
Easy.
Is it-
Dude, okay. If I came home and she was like, I bought you a new Xbox with a new, I'd be like, awesome, thanks. But if I came home and she was like, I folded all your laundry. Dude, Christmas.
He hates folding laundry, so
Yes.
that's more work. He never has.
If I came home, my shirts are hung up. That's a miracle. That's
Aw,
like the
that's
best thing you could give me. Like, acts of service go way far for me.
Oh, okay.
I would definitely agree with that. It's gotten to the point where, I mean, obviously we wouldn't be together if we didn't see it forever. So money's kind of
Right.
like I'll buy him something, he'll buy me something,
Right.
like food, stuff like that. It's not, we don't really keep score anymore when
Right,
it comes
it
to
comes
that.
and goes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of to the point where, hey, someday my money's gonna be yours and your money's gonna be mine. So who cares?
Right.
But I do like when he like drives me around our office to pick me up because I don't have to drive, and like little things like that that people don't even necessarily see as acts of service always are definitely
Some
awesome.
little things. Very nice.
It's mine is yours. It's yours is yours.
It's mine is yours.
Everything's yours.
You can borrow my t-shirts. Good.
Yeah, that's an unfair trade. You're gonna wear my t-shirts, but I never get to wear your t-shirts. What's up with that?
Her shorts, maybe?
I'll start wearing her shorts.
Her shoes.
Pause.
Okay. What kind of sentimental actions / behaviors bring you the closest together? Like I know you guys mentioned like folding clothes and
Cuddling. That's easy. You're really close together there.
Yeah, we both really do like physical touch, so just necessarily being close to each other, like even like this.
right.
No, I'm not.
Exploring, I would say. Adventure.
Ooh, I'd say still cuddling.
Okay.
Steel
Cuddling while exploring. I would say, I mean, I agree.
Still okay.
I agree we like to cuddle, but like, I think exploring too. 'Cause I think it's
Like
like.
watch nature videos while you're cuddling.
Yeah, that's what it is. But like, because when we did long distance for a year, I think a really hard part of it, other than like the physical
Right.
touch, was like, I saw the coolest thing today.
Oh.
And it's like, tell me about it. You know, you can read about it, but like, if we do something and we're like, we saw the coolest thing today, that brings us closer together because it's a shared memory.
Right.
Instead of like a year of texting each other, like, oh, something happened and it was so cool, and you're like, that sounds cool, wish I was there.
Yeah, I think a small thing that, like, I definitely overlooked for a long time is like the times when we do just get to be alone, because we're together a lot, but we're always with other people, if that
Right.
makes sense. Or like in public, because I have a roommate and he lives with his dad, so it's like when we do get those moments, like car rides, we're just alone, just to talk and like be together, and not have to cater to anything else. I think those times definitely bring us closer together.
Okay. All right. So now the appreciation questions. Okay. In what ways do you show your show your appreciation to your significant other? Is it just those like acts of service and stuff like that, or is it like something more? Is it like words of affirmation? Like
And sorry, I was burping.
It's cute. Or they like,
Hi, I'm sitting with my legs crossed. I'm doing this.
oh, proud
just
of
like I'm
you.
doing this right.
I definitely think, at least for me, I think I do this to him the most is words of affirmation, and I've been working on it a lot more recently, and just like saying thank you and saying like I appreciate you. I appreciate you did that, and just like, because I think thank you can go a long way, and when you're together a lot, you expect things, but it's not like, you shouldn't always. Like he might do something for me and I expect it kind of, but I should still say thank you because he still went out of his way to do it or stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I like the herd thing. Where like, so we'll do this thing where like I always have a lot to say and I talk a lot about everything, and I'll just kind of go out sometimes. And it's like I can't expect her to be like fully tuned into me all the time and with a essay response, but like I'll finish saying like a long completed thought and she'll say like herd. She'll just say that to me as she's doing her thing. But for me, that's really good because I'm used to a lot of people with kind of just like blowing it off.
I love that.
So
Wow.
we
She's
usually-
like heard.
Yeah,
It's like
so
work.
cool.
You do it at work.
Like at least it's acknowledging that, like though she was doing something else, she was still listening. And it's like, I don't even always talk to her. Sometimes I'm just talking just to talk and get it out and get my thoughts out there. And she's like on her phone or something. And then right when I'm done talking, she'll just say heard. And I was like, oh, like she was listening to what I was saying. And then sometimes she'll have a response on it, but you don't always have a response for something.
Right.
So that's a good thing. I really like that because it shows me that at least she cares enough to continue listening, even when I'm blabbering for so long. And she's like got other things, or if she's doing homework, and like she obviously has something else to do, but she's still like paying attention in the background.
I like that. That's a new one. I've never heard that.
It's something that I learned at work in restaurant.
Okay, so, all right, so, where was I at? Okay, do you believe that showing appreciation to each other verbally or through physical affection is a part of your relationship? Okay, yeah, you guys already answered that, so I'm just going to disregard that.
Hugs. Sure.
Okay, how do you feel when your significant other does not show their appreciation for you? If they haven't, like, have you guys gone, like, have you guys ever had a time where you're just like, I just don't feel appreciated by her or him, or
It happened.
and that's because of like not, saying verbally or like
I think it's definitely a verbal thing, because I can, as many times as I tell myself, oh, like he appreciated that, like I can only do that so many times before I'm like, does he?
right.
But it definitely was a little while ago, and I definitely blew up and it stopped happening. So
Okay.
yeah, it helps.
I disagree.
I'm kidding.
Um,
I'm kidding.
no, I think,
But wait.
yeah, if you don't, I mean, like I said, I like when you confirm that you were listening to me, but like, if there are times when I feel like I'm saying something that is what I think is important, it might not be important, but I might think it's important or cool or interesting, and then there's like no response, then I'm like, well, why am I even talking? If you're the only person in this room. Why am I even talking if you're not listening?
Right.
So there's that, which is why it means so much to me when it's just simply responded that like, yes, I'm listening to you.
I definitely think it's few and far, especially the further we get into a relationship.
Yeah, I feel like we've got more better.
That's good.
Go us.
Alright.
Nailed it.
How often should appreciation be shown in a relationship? Should it be like every single day?
Oh,
Like-
for sure.
Okay.
So I think you can't say thank you enough. If he does something small, like if you're not appreciating something they do each day, I would be blown away because they're doing something. I doubt there's a day goes by where he doesn't do something for me. And I don't think there's a day that goes by where I don't do something for him.
Sorry.
So in reality, it should be happening every day, probably several times a day. And little things like, hey, can you hear me going up? Goes out of his way to get it for you. Oh, thank you. Like, it's
Right.
just simple things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you said. Just when it happens. How hard is thank you? Whenever I hear people not say thank you, I'm like, who are we raising a cake? What's wrong with you?
Right.
Just say thanks.
Alright, so what is the most effective form of communication for you as a couple? Texting, I'm sure.
Through song.
Through a song, really?
Because all the times I sing my feelings to you. Because I do that a lot, right? Just sing to you when I'm upset.
I sing to you a lot.
I know, like, you play the guitar, right? Or
No, he doesn't.
Oh, okay, just kidding.
I don't communicate with her through song.
I do.
She is weird and sings.
Yeah.
You're so weird. I think whatever's available is probably the best.
Okay.
Phones are great. I hate texting. That's got to be the worst.
Okay.
Maybe like an email's the worst. That's probably because. But maybe even email's better because you have time to think about what you're saying. Texting, you're just heated,
Right.
throwing it out there.
Right.
I like FaceTimes and calls, preferably being with you, and just telling to your face.
So, like, in
Singing it to
person.
you.
That's the ideal, is just to your face.
But do you guys think communication is definitely necessary? Like,
Yeah, I think
being
Luke's
transparent.
sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it. So it's definitely good to be in person. I like it in person because I'm not good at it. So when I'm in person, she can be like, hey, you're supposed to talk now about what you think. And I'm like, gotcha. I don't like it. But that is the thing she'll say to me is when we're talking, she'll kind of go off. And then I'll be like driving or whatever. And then she'll be like, and now you go. And I'm like, right. I don't know. But, like, the in-person thing helps because I'm not good at it. But she is.
Nice. All right. When do you find it the easiest to communicate with each other and hardest to communicate with each other?
Definitely easiest in like everyday life
Okay.
because I mean we're comfortable with each other,
Right.
so it doesn't really matter. But definitely when there is something wrong, we're upset. Someone's upset about something. It gets more difficult, especially since we both have different confrontation styles. So Luke shuts down when like we're in a fight. I say fight very loosely.
Right.
Because like even if he just thinks I'm upset, he'll shut down, even if I'm not.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm the opposite. I'm like I attack kind of. Like I will throw all my words at you right now, whether I think them through or not. So I'm like talking all these things to him, and then he's just
Okay.
nothing.
If she thinks there's a problem, she wants to like address it right then and get it all done and
Yeah.
just fix it right there.
Yeah.
But I'm the guy that's like, if I even think there's a problem, even if there's not, and I think there is one, I'm like, I should just stop talking. 'Cause if I add to this can't be good for Luke. So I'm gonna be out. So if she maybe like responds to something like, no, I'm not hungry, I'll be like, I just won't talk for the rest of the time. It's fine.
So do you guys think it's like better that like it's like one is you guys are like polar opposites in that
Oh,
way?
no, it's so
Or
much
do-
worse.
It's way worse.
Oh really? You
Oh,
guys would
yeah.
rather like have both
We're
of us
definitely-
talking?
Either both stonewall or both just
Yeah.
yell.
Okay.
We're definitely getting better at it. I definitely think I'm getting better at not expecting a response right away. Even though I do still get frustrated with it. Because when we just started dating, I would have no idea why he's not talking back to me.
Right.
So I'd be like, this is going on in our relationship, what's wrong, how do we fix it? And he'd just be like, oh no. I'm like, that doesn't help. But now I realize that I have to give him time to really process what has been said, process everything, and then he can give a better response. And he's getting better at giving a response. And I think it's just a big thing knowing like we're gonna get over whatever it is.
Yeah, I just try to craft responses. That's how I am. I try to craft my answers, but she'll just say everything she's.
So in your silence-
There will literally be times she's like, because I feel like this is bad. I'm like, bad. Okay, bad is bad. It's, like she doesn't, she's like, there's more to it, but right now I know it's a bad thing. But for me, I'm like, well, why is it bad? What is bad? Like I'm trying to fix all of it. She'll just tell me straight up, like, now is bad. Fix this. Okay, I'll fix that up.
That's one way to go about it. Okay. Yes, it works. Okay, so this is a very interesting question. It's like out of the ordinary, but if there was a language barrier between you two, what would you do to resolve that / communicate effectively? And do you guys think you guys would still be together if there was a language barrier? Like you only spoke Chinese and he spoke English, and like you knew like thank you, no, or like something like that. You guys connected still, like you guys still saw each other, brother's friend, and all that stuff happened. You guys like FaceTime, but like,
God, that'd be frustrating.
No, I honestly, my answer is no.
Okay, yeah,
That'd
okay.
be hard. That'd be so
as much
frustrating.
as I love him now, I love him because I know who he is because
Right.
we can't communicate.
That's fair, yeah.
And without that, like I might see him and be like, oh, he's super cute, and then I try to talk to him and be like, oh, never mind.
It's like I can't tell you I love you.
Exactly, and
Right.
I think communication is that important now.
Good.
It's
Nice.
No, for sure. Because even if we both speak English, and there's even times where we're like, "What do you mean? Like, I don't know what you're saying."
Yeah.
Because you can't get a thought formulated correctly, and that's very frustrating. So to think that I could literally be like, "I love you," and they're like, "What are you saying?" That would not. That'd be hard. I mean, I'm sure some
one of
people
us
do
would
it.
have to learn the other language,
For sure.
but
Talk about an act of service.
yeah. Well, I don't understand why we would go through that trouble without knowing the person, if that makes sense.
Right. That's fair. Okay.
Oh, we're being videotaped.
Ready? Okay. So, how do you get over the speed bumps in your relationship during the highs and lows?
So weird.
Like even when like you guys think like it's like the worst part, like you guys are like at your worst part of your relationship, it's getting really really bad. How do you get over that? And even when it's like a small one, how do you guys get over that?
Remind myself while we're in it in the first place. Because we didn't have to date.
Yeah.
We were just friends. And that was pretty good, I think.
That's good. And you guys.
I loved being friends with her. But then it was like, well.
And then how do you let her know that? Like do you even tell her that, or like you just?
No,
like,
I think
know
it's a
you're gonna-
personal thing. I think
Okay.
you gotta like tell yourself, like I did this for a reason. And like you don't have to keep going.
Right.
Like we could just end it. But I won't. I just haven't yet.
Right.
I think it kind of goes back to what Luke was saying earlier, not later, that we both went into this knowing that love is a choice, and like you just have to, like, he might do something that makes me really not like him in that moment, but I still love him and I still choose to love him.
All right. Ready? Okay. Do you believe physical interaction is important in a relationship?
Physical attraction?
Wait,
Interaction.
interaction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Physical attraction, yes.
No, not at all. It can be
Physical interaction, equally yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we definitely learned that a lot by doing long distance for it was like 9 months.
For sure.
Just like hugs, holding hands, like anything is so much better than
Long
nothing.
distance is cheese, bro. Like, anyone can attest to that that's done it. Long distance is not fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's important.
Okay. Okay, this is really personal.
Hell
Is playful flirtation more effective in showing love than kissing or hugging or sex, basically? Like,
Yeah.
With other people or with each other?
with each other, like, does sex strengthen the relationship more than, like, just, like, messing around?
I'd say no.
Okay.
I definitely, like, I know when he flirts with me, it definitely kind of, like, kiddish giggles. Like, it makes me feel so good and, like, so happy in that moment. It kind of, like, brings us back to the reason we started dating.
Yeah, I think, like, sexual things are easy. That's like innate. Like, you want to do that just primally.
Right.
That's the easy part of a relationship. But like the flirting and the giggling, the laughing, enjoying each other is way more beneficial for like a healthy relationship than the physical part. That's because that part's like that one's not hard enough for anyone to do.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? It's definitely like if you care enough and you like the person enough to like interact with them, flirting and all that thing.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know, flirting, and, like, I like when he flirts with me in public, too, because I'm like, ooh, like, he's mine. Everyone knows he's mine. Like, he wants me to be his. Like,
Or if they don't know that we're dating, then they're like, "Wow, he must really like that."
yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, like, as bad as like claiming sounds, like, it's kind of like that. It's like he wants to show me up. He wants people to know we're together. So, like, I like when he flirts with me in public too.
Nice. Okay. Last question. How do you keep your flirtation alive now in your relationship? Like, I guess it's more like
How do you do it?
your sex life-ish type thing, you know?
He touches my butt a lot.
Yeah, that's actually a big one. You're right.
So now more than before, or like?
Yes.
Okay.
No, he did it more before we started dating.
No. False.
Honestly, like, I think it just kind of happened naturally, at least for us. I don't feel like it's a chore or hard or difficult.
It's just like it feels new every time type thing.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's just easy. It's easy to be with him, and it's easy to flirt with him. And like, yeah, sometimes we'll do it over dramatically, like jokingly, but we both think it's funny. Like, he'll walk up to me in a group of people and be like, "Hey, pretty lady, like, you have a date tonight or something." When obviously we've been together, but it's just funny.
Right.
She always says no. It's kind of.
I would say no. This time.
I slap her butt in public daily because it's fun to go in and be like, "That's mine." Okay, check it out. It's also because she's like way out of my league. So when I do it and she doesn't, freak out, people are like, "How did that happen? How do you get that?" And I'm just like, "I don't know."
Like, but
It's mine, so I'm keeping it up. So.
Perfect. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for interviewing. Thank you guys so much for your guys' time. I appreciate it. You guys are amazing. And I obviously believe you guys are an amazing couple, which is why I asked you guys. So.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I think you're an amazing couple.
Thank you.
By yourselves.
Yes.
Just Rob's like,
Mr.
"Fuck
Cameraman's
me,"
being
right?
jealous.